National parks are some of the most beautiful places on our planet, but they must be respected. Every year millions of people visit national parks, with the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and Yellowstone National Park being among the most popular. Oftentimes in countries that have a beautiful countryside or an incredible scenic and historically important area of wildlife, efforts will be made by the government to preserve this beautiful slice of nature, in the hopes of allowing the public at large to enjoy its unaging beauty for centuries to come. And they do this by establishing federally protected locations that prevent further developments of any kind that could damage the protected area known as a national park or wildlife preserve. Last month, officials working at Yellowstone said that someone went missing, and that the individual's brother, who was a Navy SEAL, had vanished from the area. Workers at Yellowstone National Park released a statement at the end of September and said an autopsy had been completed on the 67-year-old, saying that exposure to the elements or hypothermia was the cause of his passing. The two men had visited the area, with his brother being 74 years old. The alarms were raised by family members when they didn't return from their trip. National park workers said they found a campsite with their belongings, saying that other personal belongings were found close to the shore of Shoshone Lake. Those working at the park have said they're scanning the water in order to find out what happened, with the National Park Service's Submerged Resources Center saying that they're using sonar equipment during this investigation. Park crews continue to search for the brother by foot and boat, with assistance from Grand Tetons National Park interagency helicopter and dog teams from Western Montana search dogs. Rangers have said it's been 3 weeks since the 74-year-old went missing. Both men were not fragile, as both of them were former National Park Service workers, along with the brother also being a retired Navy SEAL. The lake where Mr. O'Neill went missing can be found southwest of West Thumb in Yellowstone, and something that was noted is that this lake barely reaches above 9 degrees, with rangers saying that if someone found themselves submerged in the lake, they could have as little as 20 minutes to get themselves out. Yellowstone National Park said the following: "This incident remains under investigation. While we cannot comment further about the specifics of this investigation, we will provide updates when appropriate to do so." End quote. This isn't the first time that something like this has happened in Yellowstone, with park officials saying that although the supervolcano is of immense interest, most of their days revolve around watching park visitors and ensuring that they aren't putting themselves in danger. Sometimes though, Yellowstone workers are not quick enough to reach people, and the unthinkable happens. One report was detailed back in 2016, and it stated that a man had fallen into a hot spring in Yellowstone. However, his body could not be recovered because it had dissolved before park rangers could reach it. The individual was Colin Scott, a 23-year-old who attempted to soak or hot pot in the hot spring. For those unaware, hot potting is a trend where someone will jump and attempt to wash themselves in a hot spring. The only problem with this though is that temperatures in these hot springs are far too high for humans to handle, and the results are usually extreme burns and a trip to the hospital. Some people have been lucky and only sustained minor burns, but unfortunately in this case Colin didn't make it out. The accident was even recorded by the man's sister, and these details have come to light due to a news station submitting a Freedom of Information request. Yellowstone's Deputy Chief Ranger Lawrence Ferris said the following about the incident: "The whole area is geothermally active. There's a closure in place to protect people from doing that for their own safety. It's a very unforgiving environment. The sad thing is that park officials said that this incident could have been easily avoided, as the pair were seen actively looking for a hot spring, ignoring the various warning signs that told them not to do so." The incident report reads as follows: "I was later informed that all recovery had ceased due to lack of physical remains. It was explained to me that due to the acidity of the water and the thermal feature, as well as the extremely high temperature of the thermal feature, the remains most likely dissolved overnight. I attended the closing brief for the incident and had cleared the area in order to process evidence. I left the key to Colin Scott's car in the Norris Geyser Basin Rangers office so that Crystal could have access to it when Colin's father arrived. The car was recovered without incident and not in my presence. I was also told that Colin Scott's father no longer wanted to meet with me. End of report. The National Park statistics have said that this year violations have tripled, meaning that over 120 arrests have been made, which resulted in many of those individuals being banned from the national park. They said that what many people don't understand is that the crust above the water is extremely thin, and there have been accounts of people falling into hot springs. In fact, this recently happened to one woman. After she fell in, the national park was closed to visitors, so park officials have said she was there illegally. When she fell into the hot springs, she suffered various wounds. At the time, the national park had been shut down from visitors since the 24th of March, and although at the time there was talks about opening it back up to the public, officials said there were still ongoing talks. The woman in question ignored the warnings and was found walking on the Wyoming side. At the time, the individual had not been identified, but she could be seen taking photographs close to Old Faithful. Despite falling in and injuring herself, the woman was able to pull herself out and drive around 50 miles. She was, however, stopped by a park ranger and airlifted to a burn center at Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center. Park officials have said that even though it's bad that she was injured, she may face penalties for not following the rules. They said that at the time everyone was doing a good job at staying away from the national park, and said that she shouldn't have been there. So what do you make of these announcements? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.